Hello, 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 everybody, and welcome to episode 40
40.
40
40, bud.
of the Calypso Cigar Review podcast. As always, at the lovely Calypso Cigar Shop and Lounge in Richardson, Texas.
That's right.
And today, we've got a couple of unique things that we're doing here. We've got the Tatuaje Little Monster. This one's called the Baby Face. This is from, it's a year old, so 2011, 2010, something like that. I think it was out in 2010, the full-size face, and then the Baby Face came out in 2011.
Okay.
So this is a year on it, maybe more.
Yeah,
It's a year.
Okay.
It's got a year on it. And this was actually gifted to me by a couple guys over at Stogie Friends, Brad over there, as well as a couple of guys from Bomb Inc., Paul Bunn, and a couple others. So big thanks to them. I've gone through all of them. This is the last one I've got that I haven't tried, and this is the face. It comes with 10 cigars, and it's the Little Drac, the Little Mum, the what's the other one? The Wolfie, the Face, and there's one other one I can't remember.
I don't know.
Let me see. It'll tell me.
It's a series, huh?
Yep, it's a series. There's the Dracula one, the Frankenstein one, the Werewolf, the Frankenstein, Dragon, Werewolf. Anyway, it's 5 of the Mummy, yeah, and then Leatherface.
Okay.
So this is the last one in the series. It's
Okay.
let's see here what this thing is made of here. It's a Petite Robusto, 4 by 3/8 by 50. The wrapper is San Andreas Mexican Maduro. San Andres.
Pedro, sorry.
Binder's Nicaraguan, fillers Nicaraguan. Strength is medium to full. Goes for about $7.50 a pop. And
Can you still find these?
they're coming out. You can still find them occasionally at some B&Ms, but they're coming out with the newer version of it. So
Okay.
this is kind of hard to get at this point.
All right.
And so big thanks to those guys for gifting these to me a
Thank
year
you,
ago.
folks.
And it comes with a little bitty. It's like a slight pigtail, kind of a knot kind of
Like
pigtail
more
on it.
knot,
Yep.
Yeah.
And
Already cut mine off.
I'm going to go ahead and cut mine. And we are pairing this today with another thing that was gifted to me. Some homemade moonshine. It's
Yeah.
apple pie moonshine. This comes from a friend of mine named Chris McDonald on Stogie Friends. He goes by Sticks over there. I had gotten some cigars from him a while back. I purchased some cigars, and when he sent the package to me, he put some extra stuff in there. So I
Okay,
got some
cool.
extra cigars plus the moonshine. Now, I do have to say, I want to have a moment of silence for Chris. His sister recently passed, so we do want to thank Chris for the moonshine, but also want to have a moment of silence for his sister. So we're gonna have a moment of silence right now. All right, so now on to the Tatuaje Baby Face.
Doesn't have a
Leatherface.
band, but it's kind of...
It's got that little extra
Wrapper
different
thing.
wrapper on it, so it's supposed to look like Leatherface with the extra face on there.
Yeah.
And what's the cold draw like for you?
Mine's a little tight right now, but we'll see. Okay.
Yeah, it's a little tight for me too. That's what she said.
It's a hair crunchy.
It is. Well, these have been in a little herpidor for a day,
Okay.
and it's got a closed foot on it.
Can't go.
There you go. I got this one.
Okay.
Let me get mine going here. It's got the closed foot, so it should light up pretty nicely and pretty easy.
You know, we're a cigar show. We think we would check our lighters before we started recording,
Ooh.
but that's part of the cigar experience. There's nothing more annoying than you cut your cigar, you're getting ready to light it, and the lighter doesn't work.
Wow. All right, I want to see what he thinks first, and then we'll share. What you think?
A lot of flavor so far.
A lot of spice.
See, unlike last week,
Mhm.
I'm not getting the spice yet, but I'm getting a lot of flavor.
Ooh, I'm getting the spice, baby.
We
Look
should
at the
mention that
smoke coming off that, too.
that RYJ did finish fairly nicely.
Yep.
It's still pretty much one note, but it's a good note. It's a really good note.
I had a little bit of an oddity with mine. I had a little bit of a dirt blast, and then it kind of went out, so I think there may have been a void in it. But after I relit, it was fine. Had some
Okay.
good spice on the end. So yeah, it wound up being a decent cigar.
Yeah.
So let's try the old,
the old moonshine.
homemade moonshine.
I've never had homemade stuff.
He said to be careful with it. So let's see. It smells just like apple
Cinnamon.
pie or
Apple and
something.
cinnamon.
Cinnamon apple pie. So let's see. Wow.
Ooh, it's really sweet.
That's really sweet.
Yeah, almost tastes like apple juice.
It really does, yeah. But
Yeah.
it's going to have some kick, apparently. So
All right, well, we'll be careful, unlike when we were in Mexico. Have we truly apologized to our fans for that?
I don't apologize for
I don't
nothing.
need it. We had fun, so that's all that really cares. It really
And we
matters.
hope that you guys had fun
Absolutely.
listening to our drunken craziness.
And our Neil Diamond songs and stuff like that.
But look at that. That's a serious smoke coming off this right off the bat.
It is. Wow.
Yep. So I've gone through the complement of these over the past for the month of October. I had 10 in there originally, and I'd smoked one of each of all of them except for the face. That was the only one I hadn't really smoked yet. So I had the little Drac recently. It was okay. I liked the Frank Jr. better. I think that had more flavor. Frank Jr. Jr. Yeah. And I really liked the little Wolfie and the little Mummy. They were both very good. So there's some cool cigars. They're definitely unique in that respect. So you got that's all of them. The Little Mum, the Wolfie, Babyface, the Little Drac, and the Frank Jr. So far, the one I liked the least was the Little Drac. So far, this is already kicking the Little Drac in the butt because the Little Drac was kind of boring.
Was it?
To me.
This is the first one of this series I've ever had. Mm-hmm. Now, I've said this to many people. I don't know if I've ever said it on air. I've liked every Tatuaje I've had, but I've yet to love one, if that makes any sense. Mm-hmm. I haven't had one that was like, oh my God, sweet. I have to smoke this for the rest of my life. But I've been like, when I've had it, I've been like, wow, it's a good cigar.
Yep. I have a couple that I like that I would keep in my humidor on a regular basis if I could, but they do a lot of exclusives and a lot of limiteds. And one of my recent favorites was the Tatuaje Noella Reserve. And it's like a small petite Corona, and so much flavor. It was one of the few cigars I smoked when I was on my vacation at Disney World, and it was awesome.
Wow.
And that would be an everyday smoke for me if I could afford it. But they are kind of limited and a little expensive. So
it's interesting that my favorite Tatuaje though was one that you guys probably never had and you'll never get. A local B&M in the Dallas area contracted Pete to do like 400 boxes of a special cigar.
Okay.
And he gave Matt and I a couple of them, and I loved it. I thought it was, I didn't love it because I haven't really loved anything. But so far, that's been my favorite Tatuaje. That was a great stick.
Yep. I like a lot of them.
And that one I would have smoked all the time because it was a reasonable price, but I never get to that side of town.
Yep. I also like the Petite Black Lancero, also very good.
Yeah, that's
very
a
good
Tatuaje.
Like
that one. You gave me one of those.
That one too, yeah. So yeah, I'm more of in love with the Tatuajes than he is. He's in like. Mm-hmm. But
it's
that's different palettes.
It's good stuff.
Different palettes, yeah. So.
And I've issued that Frank Jr. joke twice. Hopefully people are aware that was from Friends.
Of course, yeah.
Yeah. And we're Friends nerds because I was married to a Friends nerd.
And I'm married to one currently, yeah. That's her go-to show.
And it's such a well-written show that I don't mind being a guy saying that I liked Friends.
I like Friends too. It was the right show at the right time in my life, and we were the demographic for it. So
it was right in our wheelhouse.
That's our Cheers, basically.
Yeah. Although Cheers was my Cheers too.
Yeah, I like Cheers. Okay,
I thought Frasier was better than Cheers. I thought it was a much better show than Cheers. And I'm just gonna have people mad at me about
that. I don't know. I liked the variety of the characters on Cheers a bit more. But I definitely liked, the two brothers on Frasier. They had a great dynamic, and with the father intermingled there, it was really a good play.
And, damn, I forgot what I was going to say.
That's because you're old.
Yeah, I know.
And you forget things.
Lisa Kudrow was supposed to play Roz on Frasier.
Really?
And they filmed about a day and a half and fired her. They were like, no.
Wow.
No. Which worked out for her because then she got Friends. But
yeah.
But, and I liked Frasier. The problem with Cheers was that all the people in Cheers, Frasier was really the only character that could go anywhere. All of them were pretty much who they were. Norm's not changing, Cliff's not changing.
Yeah.
So, Ted Dance's name, Sam.
Sam
had already changed. He was an alcoholic who, so Frasier was really the only one who could have had a spinoff because his character actually could go somewhere.
Yeah, and his character is probably one of the least developed too, for that matter. I mean, it was just the snooty guy that was in the show.
Yeah. Yeah.
And they really expanded on that with Frasier. So
yeah.
My voice just went.
It did.
Yeah, if I need that for tomorrow, I can't have that happening.
I think Kirstie Alley's the only. Yeah, you do need that for tomorrow. Kirstie Alley's the only of the main Cheers people that never showed up on Frasier.
That's true.
They all showed up on Frasier at one point.
Yep.
So that's kind of cool.
That's because she got fat. No one wanted to see her.
Yeah.
And then she got thin. And then she got fat. And then she got thin. And then she got fat.
Yeah. So, I'm starting to get a little more pepper now.
Mm-hmm. Retrohale is very spicy.
I've got a really sharp cherry here.
That's what she said.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it's nice.
I wouldn't want a sharp cherry. Ouch.
That's like that movie Teeth.
I've seen that.
Where the girl has teeth in her vagina.
Yikes.
Ow. Oh, sorry, it wouldn't be like this. It'd be like that. Unless it was a Chinese.
I was
vagina.
just getting ready to say that same thing, and I hesitated.
You stopped.
I hesitated.
I don't hesitate.
Oh, God. What was on Family Guy? You know, they have the Asian reporter.
Mm-hmm.
And let's throw it to Susie Tucker, or whatever her name is, for her slant on the subject. And I was like, oh, my God. And I heard that, I'm going to run with it now. There's a joke about that Asian submarines come in sideways.
Oh, wow.
Sorry. Lord,
Yeah.
Lord, we apologize.
No, we don't.
Not really.
That's why
No, we
you
don't.
listen. Because we're assholes. Smoking cigars and drinking booze. Ah, my Hoya de Nicaragua hat. No, it's not a pot leaf.
No,
It
it's
is
not.
Hoya de Nicaragua.
Yeah.
Back off, stoners.
I started-
Even though I'm wearing the Radiohead shirt, which just goes along with the whole pot
Right.
leaf thing.
I started to wear my Hoya de Nicaragua shirt, and I saw you were wearing the hat. It's like, nah.
Well, come on. We could have been shirt and hat buddies.
We
Oh,
were
well.
already hat buddies on that one
Yeah, that's true. We were.
excursion.
Yep.
Oh, man, I ashed. I didn't want to ash. Oh, well.
My ash is holding on nicely. It's a nice white ash. And to talk a little bit about the look of the cigar, it's a little veiny. I mean, it's got some pretty pronounced veins on it. It's got that extra wrapper, which is actually starting to come off on me because it's pretty close to the end of the cigar there. But
Where you
I kind of
cut.
expected that. So, yeah, hey, it is what it is, and I like it.
Now this is more appley cinnamony.
It is, yeah. It's tasty, but it's very, very sweet.
Yeah, it's almost like a cordial more so than a, straight up.
It's a
Whiskey or
sipping
something.
booze.
Yeah.
I would say it's a sipping
Well, that's
booze.
what a cordial is.
Okay, I don't know these words.
Yeah.
These
well,
terms.
see, if you stick with me, you'll learn stuff.
So, what would you consider a cordial? What's some other cordial
Cordial,
boozes?
Drambuie, Tawaka, Armagnac,
What's that one that's like orange? Grand Marnier.
Grand Marnier.
Okay.
And Southern Comfort technically is a cordial.
Really?
Yeah, because it's a flavored bourbon. I can't remember what it's flavored with. I don't like Southern Comfort.
I'm not a fan of it either.
But it's technically a cordial.
Hmm.
Yukon Jack. I don't know if you've ever had that. That's
Nope.
a cheap Canadian whiskey cordial.
What does it have in it? What makes it a cordial?
It's just a sweet element added to it. It's not straight booze. It's something mixed in.
Like a cherry or something?
Yeah, something
or
like cherry.
okay.
Like Drambuie is a Scotch-based liqueur. It's got Scotch and vanilla and things like that in it. Tawaka is an orange liqueur, only not as orangey as Grand Marnier. But yeah, those are cordials.
Cool.
And I've never had Armagnac, but they mentioned it on Fraser as a cordial one time. It's the only reason why I know that word.
It has the word yak in it, so I
Yeah.
would think not going to be
Well,
something.
cognac.
Yeah, I'm not a big cognac
I'm
fan
not
either,
either.
though.
I'm sure Armagnac is a cognac-based.
I like man
liqueur.
drinks, like whiskey and bourbon and
Bourbon
scotch.
and scotch. And,
Yeah, those kind of
stuff like
things.
that.
Something that's going to like just have a lot of flavor and kick your ass. And I don't like necessarily the sweetness stuff, but this is
A cordial
tasty.
has the sweetness of a mixed drink, but it's not a mixed cocktail type drink. Hell, like Kahlua, it would even be considered a cordial.
Yeah, I can sip Kahlua. It's okay. Like I like a
Yeah.
White Russian now and then, but
I've never had a White Russian, or I've never had a Black Russian. I've just never. I don't even think I've ever had Kahlua, to be honest.
Yeah.
Maybe in coffee sometime.
yeah, Kahlua is tasty. But it is it doesn't get you drunk. You have to mix it with something else.
Yeah.
It's, vodka.
Now my
Kahlua.
favorite is Drambuie. That is my all-time favorite cordial.
I don't think I've ever had Drambuie. What does it
Never?
taste like?
Scotchy, sticky, sweet Scotch, but it's good. No, it's not. It's not as sweet. That's why I like it.
Oh, okay.
But it does have the sweetness. And one of my favorite cocktails is the Rusty Nail, which used to be really big in the 50s and 60s in high society, and it's kind of drifted away. And most of the time when you go to a bar and order a Rusty Nail, they don't know what the hell it is. But it's equal parts Drambuie and Scotch. That's a Rusty Nail. And it should be served neat on the rock, or not on the rocks.
Neat.
Neat. I have to make you a Rusty Nail sometime.
Yeah, wouldn't mind trying Rusty Nail.
That's good.
I'm down for trying new things.
Yep.
Drink wise, yummy, and
Yep.
new cigars, also good.
And Kurt from Poolside Cigar Reviews is a liquor lover like us, so he'll probably have a good definition of cordial if mine wasn't up to par.
He'll be like, you guys screwed it up.
So read our comments, and
Right.
Kirk will help us.
Yeah. Here's what the real definition is. Back in the 1800s, blah, 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 blah.
Just kidding you, Kirk.
We love you, Kirk. So what have
Well,
you
no,
been doing?
you're still in the friend zone, Kirk.
What have you been doing this week? Anything fun?
What did I do fun? I did something not fun Monday.
You want to talk
should
about
I tell
that?
this story?
Yeah, you can tell the story. As a warning to others.
Yes. I like to have a few drinks. It takes me forever to go to sleep. I stay asleep pretty well, but I can't go to sleep. So I like to have a bev or two before I collect my night medicine. And but I don't want to drink every day. I mean, I do want to drink every day, but I don't because I know you shouldn't be drinking every day. So I thought I would try this vitamin supplement. It's not a prescribed thing. It's not medicine. It is a vitamin supplement.
It's natural and supposed to help you sleep.
It's supposed to help you sleep. And I had one bourbon, and I'd had a beer like an hour or two before. And I took this pill because I didn't want to have a lot of booze on me, but I wanted to have one. And next thing I know, I wake up the next morning. I'm completely naked. Yeah, completely naked. And get up. I noticed that my TV stand is smashed. I mean, it is flattened. Boards everywhere. My TV's fine. So apparently that means I picked up the TV and put it on the floor and then proceeded to smash the TV tray.
What the hell?
No recollection of this at all.
Wow.
So then I remember, then I started, as I was trying to go back to sleep and trying to figure out what the hell happened, started having these dreams of dragons and stuff. And I don't dream about dragons or anything. And so then I woke up, I was still seeing them. I kept imagining them in the room.
Wow.
So then
None shall pass. It's like Gandalf
then,
and shit.
Yeah.
Naked Gandalf smashing the
Naked
TV
Gandalf,
stand.
Right. So then I get up for good. You know, the alarm goes off. I get up and I'm just like, what the hell? And I'm like, well, where's my underwear? So I'm thinking, I hope it's not in the bathroom. I hope I didn't walk around the house naked in front of my roommate and stuff. And so I go to the bathroom thinking maybe after I use the bathroom in the middle of the night, I just took them off in the bathroom. No, I have still to this day, or to this moment, have no idea what I did with my underwear. So yesterday I'm texting Brandon telling him this story, and, you know, shit, my roommate's going to kick me out, blah, blah, blah. I get home and he's not talking to me. He's just kind of laying on the couch watching TV. I said, well, I'd sent him an email. I sent everybody I knew an email saying, don't take this vitamin supplement. And so
I thought it was spam, so I texted him back. I was like, is this from you? Because I don't want to open it if it's some virus or something.
No, it's from me. So then so I said, well, I hope you saw my email. He says, yeah. I'm like, oh, crap, he's pissed. Said, all I know is that I woke up naked and that my TV stand is smashed to pieces. He says, yeah, you tripped over it. I said, well, I didn't trip over it. I'd have knocked my TV over. My TV's sitting up nice. And he says, oh, well, it sounded like you tripped over it. I said, no, apparently I just smashed it. And so he said, and you did walk around the house naked and trip over furniture. No recollection. None. So anyway, so I was like, because they don't drink. He and his wife don't drink. So I thought, they're going to blame it on booze. They're going to think I just got drunk and, you know, shouldn't be drinking, blah, blah, blah. So I was all day defending it. Booze had nothing to do with it. Booze had nothing to do with it. Until I went to make me a drink last night, and I know that when I went to bed, I had half of a fifth. And when I went to make me a drink, the fifth was empty. So apparently after I went into zombie mode, I decided to start drinking again. Oh, and there was evidence that I took a Tylenol PM also on this thing. So I guess I can't, so I won't mention the brand of this supplement because while it did fucking knock me out, or knocked my mind out, it didn't knock me out. And so therefore I was trying, obviously, subconsciously, to do something to get me to go back to fully go to sleep. But it did numb my mind to the point where I had no recollection of anything.
Wow.
So, anyway, so he wasn't mad. He said, you probably shouldn't have been drinking on that pill. I said, I had one drink on the pill, and that's it.
But then you looked at the bottle.
Well, that was after that.
Yeah. Yikes.
Because I do remember laying there, and I was coherent enough that I reached over, turned off my laptop, turned the light off, rolled over, and I remember going to sleep. And that's all I remember.
Wow.
Yeah.
So what's your TV doing now? Where's that living?
Well, I have a spare TV stand that houses my PlayStation.
Okay.
But the PlayStation doesn't work, so I've been needing to throw that out anyway, so I'll just throw that out and put my TV on there.
Damn.
It's a weird feeling when you don't remember anything, and yet you see evidence of what you did. That's it's a scary feeling.
Randy turned into the Hulk and has the memory. Randy smash!
Jeez.
Wow.
Yeah. So
I just thank you for not sending me video of that.
Me too.
It's like, hey, I'm gonna FaceTime. I'm glad you don't have an iPhone.
Instagram. Bunch of stuff.
Yeah. What is that? A turtle poking out of something?
What is that petite Corona? It's more like a full Corona, but I'm joking.
Oh, man.
But anyway, it was terrible.
All right, we're at about the 20-minute mark, so we're going to take a little break here. Come back for the second third of the Tatuaje Baby Face.
Yep.
And
I'm liking.
Yep, I'm liking it too.
But something's wrong with my palate lately. I'm not picking up spice as much as I want to.
Smoking too much, maybe?
I guess. The last couple of cigars that I thought were going to be really spicy haven't been. So I don't know. Maybe.
Now, when we come back, we're going to come back with the Esteban Carreras Creature Feature, and it's going to be in relation to the cigar we're smoking. So figure that one out.
Yep.
All right, everybody, we're back for the second third of the Tatuaje Baby Face from the Little Monsters collection, and it's tasty so far. Me likey.
What made them choose these particular characters? I mean, like, why is there a Leatherface and not a Michael Myers or a Jason or something?
Well, they do have a Jason now. This year was the Jason.
Oh, they did.
So they did. It's a really cool box dress. It looks like Jason's mask and like a coffin type thing. So they're putting out individual monsters each year. This was the first, and so basically what they did was they put out full size versions of it. They had the Drac and they had the Mummy and they had the whatever, and then they did the little versions.
Okay.
So now they're doing the Jason, and then they'll probably do a Michael Myers and whatever, and then they'll put out little versions of those as well.
Okay.
So there's a trend to it.
Okay.
So yeah, there is a Jason, and from what I understand, it's very good. I haven't gotten it yet, and don't plan to unless they go down in price or they're more available. But it's it's one of those limited runs, and I tend to try and not go after those as much as I used
You're not
to.
going to get to smoke them again, more than likely.
Exactly. It's kind of a bummer to get something you really like, and then you can't get it again ever. So.
Oh, in a Nicaragua Series C.
Yep. Exactly.
Have we ever talked to Cuenca?
I wanted to. I had the chance. I didn't get there. I wanted to meet him so bad and ask him about that. So yeah, I know. Missed him by that much. So yeah. So it is time for the Esteban Carreras Creature Feature, sponsored by Esteban Carreras and the Chupacabra.
Esteban Carreras Creature Feature.
All right, everybody. This week's Creature Feature, going along with the Baby Face, is
another classic.
The classic Texas Chainsaw Massacre. Yes, the classic movie from 1974. 74. There you go. Yep. I was 4 years old when this movie came out,
and I saw it in the theaters.
I know you did not.
Yes, I did. We've told this story.
Oh my God!
My mom.
I forgot about that.
My mom let me watch horror movies. My dad was always like, "Don't take him to see that." Well, you won't go with me. So we'll talk about the movie. Everyone's seen it, but I do have a funny Texas Chainsaw story after that.
Yep, we wanted to review that because we're smoking the Baby Face, so I figured it was appropriate.
And this will be the last classic for a while because we've done 3 classics in a row.
Yeah, we have.
We'll get back to funnier stuff.
We got some good stuff coming up. So as we went to go ahead and tell them.
Ghost
Shark.
Ghost
Ghost Shark is going to be the next one.
And there's one coming out this year that's not out yet that I can't wait for.
Avalanche Sharks.
Avalanche Sharks. I can't wait for that one.
The shark movies are just they're oversaturating the market of shitty horror movies. But so to go on to Texas Chainsaw Massacre, we looked at the 74 version, and I actually watched the newer one, the 3D one, as well afterwards. He's seen it recently, so we can talk to both. But I hadn't seen the 74 version in a long time, and I got to tell you, it's still a creepy-ass movie. It is a very creepy movie.
First of all, the way they shoot it, that 16 millimeter, because it's grainy, it looks like shit, but it makes it feel like you're watching footage as opposed to watching a movie.
Yep.
And, this was the movie that kind of set that template that the Blair Witch Project jumped on, where they promoted it as though it were a true story.
Yep.
And it wasn't. It's based on true events in that it's based on Ed Gein.
Yep, and a couple other things as well. It's kind of an amalgam of a bunch of different things kind of thrown together to make one supposedly true story. But it is very a very well made movie. If you haven't seen the original, I highly recommend going back to see it. Just from the first shots alone, you got that noise of that camera popping, the old school flash, and you get these little flashes of this really gross stuff. You don't know what it is. And then you see this. There's like a news story going on in the background about someone was grave robbing, and they left this like really gothic looking corpses on this thing, and it's really creepy looking.
Right.
And then I mean,
John Larroquette was the news guy, wasn't he?
Yep. There is a little bit at the beginning where there's there's narration at the beginning talking about how this is a true story and blah blah blah. This happened, and they wanted Orson Welles to do it. Couldn't get Orson Welles.
How could they afford Orson Welles?
So they got John Larroquette because he had that same kind of cadence, and they told him to sound like Orson Welles. So he sounded sort of like Orson Welles. So he did it, and apparently the story behind that is he was paid to do that narration with pot.
Oh, yeah. Okay.
Paid in pot.
Everybody has their own pay scale.
Exactly.
It's the typical story. Kids out on a trip through Texas, driving around in a van. They're smoking pot and
having a good old time.
They pick up a creepy hitchhiker. And I kind of think of him, even though he wasn't the forewarning guy, he kind of was.
There is a forewarning guy in it, though, too.
Yeah, there was a forewarning guy also.
There was a forewarning guy. It was uniquely shot, because usually the forewarning guy is just this guy comes straight up and goes, "Sure, if you go there, you're going to die."
Right.
But this guy was like laying on the ground. Now, they talk about how hot it is, and everybody's always complaining about how hot it is. And this guy's laying on the ground. He's shot upside down, so you just see like an overhead view of his like face, and he's like, things happen in there, and you don't know, and they're not going to tell you. And
Right.
So he's this crazy foreshadow guy that the kids kind of don't even really pay attention to him at all.
Right.
And then there's the other foreshadow guy, which is actually later on revealed to be one of the bad guys, who's the gas station guy. They go to a gas station to get gas.
Yeah.
There's no gas, and he's like, "We don't have gas till tomorrow."
Right.
And
So why don't you come stay at this house?
Yeah.
Right, and
this is after the creepy guy, after they
Right.
picked up the creepy hitchhiker. Now, for me, the creepy hitchhiker in the original is much creepier than the creepy hitchhiker in the remake with Jessica Biel. It's just he's just this really creepy looking dude that's got this funky scar on his face or something, and he's sitting there, and it's so that whole scene is just so uneasy.
Yeah.
The way he acts and everything, and he
cuts his hand.
yeah, he takes the knife from the guy in the wheelchair and like cuts himself open, and he's laughing about it, and then he takes a picture of him with a Polaroid camera, and he's like trying to sell it to him. And they're like, "Get the fuck out of here, dude!"
Right. And he's talking about head cheese.
Yeah, like how they talk about the slaughterhouse, because they drive by the slaughterhouse and everybody's like, "Oh, what's that smell?" It's like that's the old slaughterhouse, and he talks about how it was
Have you ever smelled that?
cool. Yeah, it's not.
disgusting.
I've been to a chicken where they actually do the chicken plant at Tyson Chicken, and that was awful. So I know, slaughterhouse is worse, but yeah. So this creepy guy basically is really the foreshadowing of bad things to come. He invites him over to dinner. They turn him down, so that's when he goes kind of apeshit and cuts himself and does all this bad stuff.
Right.
And I wanted to ask you, I had a question because I wanted to see what you thought about this, because these guys are just like total hillbilly weirdo freaks. Obviously a family that kills people and
Leatherface's
eats
family, obviously.
Leatherface's family kills people and eats them and stuff. And this guy does something. He cuts his hand open, and then when he's leaving, when they kick him out, he marks the van. He wipes his blood all over the van.
I've always thought that that was a signal.
That's what I thought. I was like,
think
are they smart enough for him to mark the van so that when they stop for gas, the dad will know, oh, okay, well, my son's already seen these guys, so let's go ahead and tell him there's no gas, but really there is gas, because they don't even try.
Right.
Because this is back in the days when you would stop at a gas station, they would pump it for you.
Right.
So they don't even go to the pump to try and put gas in. They just believe that there's no gas.
Yeah, I've always thought it was a signal.
Yeah.
Yeah. So they get there, they get to this field, they're hanging out, they're partying, and two of them wander off to this creepy house, which I've never understood this in movies. I know they got to make the movie, but I don't really get the urge to walk into creepy houses.
Well, they were going there for a reason. So the reason
they were trying to find
gasoline.
Right.
They heard a generator. They were actually looking for a place to go swim.
Yeah.
But they heard this generator. Like, oh, they got gas. Let's go ask them if they have any gas.
Right.
So they go to this creepy house. First off, there's camouflage covering all these cars. So that's obviously the car graveyard for all the people that they've killed.
Right.
But they don't think anything of it. They're like, whatever. Okay, let's go to the house.
They collect cars.
Yep.
No.
If you see a car graveyard,
Yeah. Right.
pretty good chance they're going to try and
when
kill you.
some of the scenes that get me the most are at that point.
Yep.
He comes out and he bashes that guy right in the
Yep.
freaking head. But the door, that metal door,
Yeah.
and then there's Leatherface, and
Yeah,
And then,
that's one of the things I really dug about this movie, and it to me, I mean, I think I saw it when I was probably 7 or 8, right around the time, the summer of Star Wars and everything. They would back then they would show older movies in the theater again at colleges and stuff. My dad would take me to go see these movies, and I was already into special effects. I was reading Famous Monsters and stuff, and I knew all about that stuff, so I went and saw it with him. And there's just some really cool shots in them for being a low budget movie and being the Steadicam wasn't even really around then. There's this one shot where the girl's on this like porch swing and she's sitting there swinging, and the guy's like knocking on the door trying to get in, and he goes in, and then Leatherface hits him with the hammer and kills him, and he's like shaking and all creepy. And then there's a shot of her, and she gets up from the chair and walks, and the camera goes under the chair and follows her, and it's so fluid and so cool looking. I was like, damn, how'd they do that shot? That was a great shot.
That's a cool shot.
But that just shows you that they were great filmmakers, even on a low budget. They were really thinking outside the box and trying to do something that was creative and cool to look at, but yet visceral. I mean, it was just such a visceral movie in that it's so brutal in the murders and there's really not that much. There's really not that much blood in the movie.
No, but the deaths are so violent that your imagination makes it feel gory.
And what kills me about this, if you read the trivia on IMDb, Tobey Hooper was actually trying to make a PG movie. He's like, I didn't put a whole lot of blood in it. I didn't put much language in it because I wanted it to be PG because he knew he'd reach a larger audience that way. When they submitted it for the first cut, they're like, no fucking way. This is not PG. This could be X-rated.
Right.
So they had to go cut a couple things to get the R rating when it came out. And even then, I mean, just based on the intensity of the scenes, there's no way this movie would be PG
ever
on any stretch of the imagination because it's just so out there. If you haven't seen it, I highly recommend it. This movie's a bazillion years old, so we're going to spoil some stuff. But
know that it was 74 and keep that in mind when you're watching it.
Yeah.
Because, after Saw and Hostel and all those things that have been out lately, the torture porn and gore porn, it's not that much. Torture porn, maybe. But not going to have the gore. It's not going to have the gut entrails and all that kind of stuff.
Yeah, not like the new ones are gorier than the old one, but the old one to me is more effective because you got some really, you got kind of non-actors in it, but they do a good job. Franklin's the most annoying guy in the movie. He's the guy that's in the wheelchair.
Oh my!
He's such a wet blanket. Oh, I just wanted. He was the only guy in the movie that I wanted to die. I was like, kill that guy so he'll shut up. I fucking hate that guy.
My great aunt would whine like that. When she went and get in her way. And I remember watching that movie, and every time Franklin opens his mouth, I think of my great aunt.
Yikes.
But that was jarring. Back then, the person with the handicap would survive. And Franklin gets it, and you're kind of happy.
Yeah.
It's like, finally, he's going to shut up.
But he's a wet blanket, and obviously everybody else that's in the van is hooking up, and they want to have a good time, and he's the guy that,
push me.
His sister's like, oh, God, I'll help you. And he gets chainsawed, and it's just a freaky-ass moment because it's very low light, and it's like only available light and a couple of things you see, and you don't really see a whole lot. But once the last girl gets captured by the family.
Who was kind of a babe. She was kind of pretty.
Yep.
She was 70s hot.
Yep. Yeah.
Forget her name.
And I had a note. I have a couple notes here. One of them was once her brother gets killed, Franklin gets killed. She's running through the woods, and
That's a great scene.
Yeah, great scene. My note was Leatherface needs a better chainsaw or sharpen it because he wasn't able to cut through twigs chasing after Chesty McNipplepokey, because she is very nipple pokey and very chesty. And yeah, I mean, but there's like scenes where he's like, she's running through the forest, and he's like, and it's like twigs. I'm like, dude, really?
Yeah, they're not.
But I read in the trivia that he was much faster with her, much faster than she was, even though he was wearing like 4-inch heels to make him taller than the rest of the cast.
Yeah.
So he had to slow himself down. So there's scenes where he's basically just going at the woods because he couldn't, he would catch her otherwise.
Yeah, exactly.
And the director was like, go after her. So.
And then there's that dinner table scene, which is still disturbing.
It is very disturbing. Yeah.
Now when I watch it though, because I've seen it and I've kind of become desensitized to it, there's actually kind of some humor there.
There is, yeah.
There's some humor there, and I don't know if that was intended to loosen up the scene a little bit, because there's no levity, and there shouldn't be, but you kind of, as an audience, especially then when you hadn't seen this, I think they put a little levity in it.
Yep. The grandpa trying to hit her with the hammer and just constantly dropping the hammer is it's you're giggling because it's funny. The situation is funny, but also the situation is horrible because they're essentially he's trying to, because he used to, basically the story was, and he told it at the beginning of the movie, is that his grandfather used to work at the slaughterhouse and would smash the heads of cows with a hammer, and that was the better way to kill cows as opposed to the new way with this big metal thing that goes in there, rod or whatever. And so that's what they're trying to do with her. In essence, they're trying to let Grandpa kill her by hitting her in the head with a hammer. And there was
he
also a
can't
note
hold it.
on there that Grandpa, who looks like he's dead, he looks like a zombie. They had to cut her finger to feed Grandpa blood,
Right.
and the knife was apparently they had some blood effects into the knife, but it wouldn't work. So Gunnar Hansen actually cut her with the knife, so she's actually bleeding in that scene when they feed her to the grandpa.
He's actually sucking on her blood. Yuck.
Well, I'm sure they did probably
It's like
after he cut her. You see that it's really cut, and then they stick it in their mouth and they cut away. So. But yeah, so she probably wasn't happy about that, I wouldn't think, as an actor.
You know that scene? She jumps out of the window. Just so well done. I mean, I'd like to see how they did the special effects on that.
They talk about that on the trivia as well, is that they used a stunt woman to jump out the window, but then the real girl, the actress, had to do where she falls down on the ground. So they show it coming out of the window, and then they show her falling down. So the falling down scene was actually her, and she really did. Because it was gravel, she scabbed up her knees through the pants. So the blood on her knees and on her hands is real because she really messed herself up.
And just that scene when she get the truck, where the trucker stops.
Yeah.
And Leatherface is right behind him. And, you know, she has the blood on her face and does that maniacal laugh of relief.
Now, the actor that played the hitchhiker, the guy that cuts himself up, whatever, he was a ex-Vietnam vet. Okay. And he talks about how hot it was on the set. They used real pig entrails and stuff in the house, and the house, because it was really shot in Texas and it was like 100 something degrees or whatever. The house smelled so badly because they didn't have the special effects to use fake stuff, so they used real stuff. And they only had one set of clothing for the wardrobe for everybody, so they all wore their clothes all the time. They said Gunnar Hansen smelled like a sack of rotted meat, so nobody wanted to be around him. That his experience making that movie was worse than his experience in Vietnam, and if he ever met the director again, he'd punch him in the face.
Really?
So yeah, that just tells you right there how uncomfortable and how...
Toby Hooper, his career hasn't really been that great. I think he would have gone on to bigger...
He did. He did Poltergeist. That was the biggest thing he did beyond Texas Chainsaw. But then after that, it was pretty much nothing.
He did a movie called the Toolbox Murders.
Yeah.
That's all it is.
Yeah.
And none of the actors in the movie ever went on to really amount to anything.
Nope.
But that's what makes those kind of movies more effective, I think. Now, the sequel with Dennis Hopper was horrible. I don't know if you saw that one.
It really was bad, yeah.
That was just horrible. And that one they were trying to make funny, I think. That one...
Yes, that one had a definitive sense of humor to it. Yeah,
it did. And but the original Texas Chainsaw Massacre, awesome. I think it holds up. We read some reviews that a lot of people don't think it holds up to today. It does, at least in our opinion.
Yeah, it does. It's I mean, just the way it was shot. The scene where the girl is strapped to the chair and the family's trying to kill her, the dinner scene. There's so many like close-ups of her eye that are just like her face. Just you can see the terror on her face, and she's really performing very well. That scene is just, I mean, it is hard to get through without feeling something. I mean, you just feel bad for her.
Yeah, and just horrified for her.
Yeah, it's a very cool flick, and I still think to this day it's very effective. So Toby Hooper is Toby.
I don't know. I've never really
is from Austin, Texas. So he is an actual Texas dude. That's cool. Yeah. And his big claim to fame after that was Poltergeist, and that was pretty much it. Let's see what else he's got on the list here.
Well, I do know Toolbox Murders was his first horror movie in years.
Eaten Alive was after Texas Chainsaw Massacre, which I heard was pretty good. The Dark, Salem's Lot TV movie, that was actually pretty good. So he did that. Solid, The Funhouse, that was him too.
That wasn't bad.
I
actually like Funhouse.
He did
than Toolbox Murders.
Venom, which was a snake thing I never saw. Poltergeist in '82. He did Life Force. I love Life Force.
I didn't know that. Okay, I apologize, Toby. He actually did have a decent...
It was the sci-fi one with the hot chick naked all the time.
Yeah.
That was a great movie. Serious spank bank material. When you're a kid, like, Dad, I want Life Force. Okay, that's a cool sci-fi movie. Holy chick, that chick is naked the whole movie. Like, isn't it? Yeah. Well, you're going to watch that VHS. That kid's going to run off on that one. Invaders from Mars was like a kitschy kind of a remake of the old one. It was in '86. That was actually entertaining. Then he did Chainsaw 2 in '86, which is crap. And then he went on to do pretty much crap. A lot of TV. He directed some episodes of The Equalizer, directed an episode of Amazing Stories for Spielberg, Freddy's Nightmare TV series, and then Tales from the Crypt. So he's had a decent career. The Mangler, which I heard was pretty good. I never saw it.
I think I've seen that. That's not bad.
Yep. Crocodile, a 2000 Crocodile movie. Taken, the TV series, which actually I think was pretty good. Toolbox Murders was 2004.
Okay.
Mortuary after that. Masters of Horror. So he did a lot of TV.
Those Masters of Horror are actually pretty good.
Yeah.
It's a series of stuff.
So now I want to talk a little bit about before we run out of time here. Talk a little bit about the new one. The newest one was the 3D one with our hottie
Alex Daddario.
Oh God, yeah.
so
Alexandria Daddario is hot.
What a body.
Great body. She's like
Pretty
tiny
face.
little waist, beautiful face, piercing blue eyes, incredible tits. Just her tits are just awesome. They're like
They are, and you
just-
almost get to see a lot of them.
yeah, most of it. It's like no nipple, but everything else in that movie. And that one takes place directly after the first
Yeah, it's
Texas
a
Chainsaw.
direct
So that's
sequel.
kind of cool. They actually used footage from the original and then tied it into the second one.
Yeah.
So it's like the family, they already found out what they did. The cops are going there. They set the house on fire, burn it down.
Yeah.
And one of the guys takes a kid because his wife wants a kid. They end up raising the kid. That becomes Alexandria Daddario,
Right.
who then
Inherits
gets
a house from.
she inherits a house from them. Of course, the house is like this badass mansion and stuff. And you're like, where the hell did that come from?
Yeah, where'd
But-
they get money? And
And it's got Clint Eastwood's kid in it.
yeah, he's kind of a punk in that movie.
He is Scott Eastwood. Yep.
Yeah, and then so she inherits this mansion. She invites all her friends over for a party, and unbeknownst to them, Leatherface lives in their basement.
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
Yep, and the killings ensue.
And
Now,
ensue.
one thing I will say about this one is they tried to tie it to the original. They had the spike thing, someone on the spike, like in the original, and they had the shots with the Polaroid going off and the pictures and stuff. But it's just not as effective. You can tell it's almost more of a ripoff than an homage.
Yeah.
But they did take it a step further with cutting someone in half while they're on the spike, which I thought was pretty bloody
Interesting.
and pretty cool. Yeah.
Yeah.
But
Certainly more gore in the sequel, the true
definitely
sequel.
more gore. And the character looks totally different. Leatherface is,
Yeah,
updated.
modern.
Yeah, more modern and cool looking.
Yeah.
But yeah, it was okay. If you haven't seen the new one, I'd say it's worth a watch just to
not bad.
see. I'd watch the original and then watch the new one and see what you think.
Yeah.
And skip over the Jessica Biel and all the other crappy ones in between.
Yeah,
and
there was a bunch of them. The
there
Matthew
is-
McConaughey.
Yeah,
Renee
there's
Zell-
one called The Next Generation with Matthew McConaughey and Renee Zellweger before they were big.
I call her Renee Zell Booger.
Yeah, I'm not a big fan of hers, but I like Matthew McConaughey.
I like McConaughey.
Yep, I do too.
I like him now because he picks good stuff.
Yep.
He had years of garbage, but good stuff now.
Yep.
Now, the next segment, I know we'll be done with this thing, but I want to talk about the origin of Leatherface.
Okay.
Okay. Since
All
we're
right.
smoking.
The baby face. Yep.
Yes.
All right. So what do you think of the second third of the baby face?
Once again, it's not complex like the RYJ, but it's got a lot of flavor. I do get a little more pepper, especially in the retrohale. The retrohale is full-blown pepper, like snorting pepper spray. But as far as on my palate, I'm not noticing changes or anything, but I do know I like it.
I'm getting the only change I've noticed is the cocoa's kicking up a little bit in the second third. I didn't
Wow,
really get the
getting no
cocoa.
I
at
think
the
this
first.
apple pie drink has
taken out. Yeah.
killed the cocoa.
I've kind of stopped drinking that a little bit so I could taste this a little more. I think that's probably not the best pairing because that's really sweet, but I still wanted to drink it, and I wanted to give a shout out to Chris for providing that. So
Yes.
thank you, Chris, again.
And can you imagine drinking this and smoking a blondie?
Oh man, your head would explode
you'd
from the
go into a
sweetness.
sugar coma.
Yeah, exactly. All right, so that ends today's Esteban Carrera's Creature Feature, the classic Texas Chainsaw Massacre, and we'll be right back with the last third. All right, everybody, we're back for the last third, and we're actually going to get through a whole cigar on this episode. Look at that, I'm getting close to the end of the face there.
Go
Getting
figure.
to the
And I kept it lit throughout the creature feature.
yay.
Yes. I'm
All
learning.
right. So as always, we're at the Calypso Cigar Shop and Lounge in Richardson, Texas, and we want to give a couple of things. Want to say a couple of things real quick here before we get into the final third. We are on iHeartRadio now, so go to iHeartRadio and heart us on iHeartRadio and put us in your playlist. We're also on Stitcher, so if you've got the app, if you don't have it, get it on your iPhone or your Android. Subscribe to us on Stitcher. You can find us under the. You just look up Calypso Cigar Review. We're there.
There we are.
For iHeartRadio, you can look up Calypso Cigar Review, or you can look up the Spreaker people, and we're in that Spreaker list. We're also on Spreaker. We're on Podomatic. We're on iTunes. Don't forget to subscribe on iTunes. Give us the 5-star reviews. We prefer that we get the 5-star reviews to help us move up the ranks, but more people can find us. Go to YouTube and subscribe, please.
And like.
And comment, and we'll give you a shout out.
Twitter. Follow us on Twitter. Tweet us on Twitter. Retweet us on Twitter.
Yep.
Get a shout out.
Always appreciate it.
Go to the Calypso Cigar Shop and Lounge on Facebook. Comment there, and we'd appreciate it.
If you're liking the show, spread the word
And
so
you'll
we can get out to more
you'll
people.
get shout outs. No, we don't really have shout outs because we
Did a whole bunch of them last time.
last time. And I don't want to just give one or two. I like to have it built up.
Yep.
But if you did any of those things, you will get shout outs on the next episode. We will shout out Kirk and Jeff because they've been loyal for a long time. So.
And Ricky.
And Ricky. Sorry, Ricky.
All right, so you wanted to talk a little bit about the origins.
Okay, yeah, because I have a funny kind of thing that I do. Of course, Leatherface is loosely based on Ed Gein, who was a serial killer that was so bad that 3 of the classic horror icons were based on him. Leatherface is based on him. Buffalo Bill from Silence of the Lambs is based on him.
She big fat person.
And Norman Bates is based on Ed Gein. Tells you he's a creepy fucker.
Yeah, he was.
He was. And he was the grave robber, and he did the sewing of the women's skin. He's just a weird fuck.
Yeah.
Well, he's from Wisconsin. And Jeffrey Dahmer is from Wisconsin. So and Matt's wife, Mary, is from Wisconsin. So anytime she talks about how great Wisconsin is, I'm like, oh yeah, it's super. Ed Gein, Jeffrey Dahmer, yeah, that's a great place. She gets all pissed off.
Bunch of murderous fucks there. Think so?
Yeah, I don't think I want to go to Wisconsin. Who else is lurking out there?
No kidding.
But I tried, last week we talked about that Friday the 13th documentary. Kane Hodder plays Ed Gein in a movie.
Oh, does he?
Yeah, and I've got it. I haven't watched it yet, but I want to give that a shot since we did Texas Chainsaw Massacre. Stephen Ragsdale, remember him?
Yeah.
He played Jesus. He played Charles Manson in The Best and Helter Skelter.
And he was in Life Force.
That's right, he was. And he's from Dallas.
Yep.
Anyway, I saw an Ed Gein movie where he played Ed Gein.
Yeah, I saw that movie too.
It was solid. But
it's good.
I'm curious to see what Kane Hodder. I'm sure they'll make him more violent and more, But the dude robbed graves and make it as violent as you want.
And made people lamps.
Yeah.
You like yeah.
What a freak.
Creepy, gross stuff.
Ugh. So anyway, I had a funny Texas Chainsaw Massacre story. So we went to see this, my mom and I, and the next morning, the next door neighbor is cutting limbs off his tree with a chainsaw. So we're like, freaked out.
Oh, I forgot to mention, I love that moment in the new Texas Chainsaw Massacre when he goes, she climbs over this fence and goes to this big carnival, and there's a bunch of people running out of, which people don't do this. People never run out of a haunted house at a carnival. Right. They're running out of this haunted house, and then here comes a guy with a little bitty fake chainsaw, like going, and then Leatherface runs up with the real one. And the guy's like, "Holy crap!" And runs out. It's just like,
that was funny.
It was a funny moment.
That was funny.
Which is exactly what I would do if someone walked out with him.
Exactly.
Fucking chainsaw. Get the fuck out of here.
I had a couple of moments where I ran out of a haunted house.
Really? What was so scary that you ran out of a haunted house?
Well, one was a prank.
Okay.
There's a wax museum here, and it was a haunted. They turned it into a haunted house, and it was fairly scary. It wasn't, too scary. But to leave the actual museum, they had a religious area, so they got the Lord's Supper, and so everyone's trying to calm themselves by looking at Jesus and stuff like that. Well, my dad and uncle, I watched them do this. They nudged each other, and both started screaming, "Ah!" So people flew out of this. The religious section. People were jammed in the door because they thought that if they'd added a scary element to it, it was just my dad and uncle being goofy.
Run from zombie Jesus!
But there was another I was at, and it did involve a chainsaw. And wasn't that the haunted house was scary. I got through it quicker than my brother, because my brother slipped on this gravel. And so I went back to pick him up, and this dude jumped out with the chainsaw, and I was not expecting it, because it was right at the end, and he hadn't jumped out when I ran out. So my guard was down. I got to pick up my brother. And we both hauled ass out of there.
I worked a haunted house. It was a haunted trail, actually, a couple years back. And I scared this one kid so much he peed himself. I don't know if I told the story already, but I felt bad about that. I felt so bad about that. So. But it was fun scaring people. I actually got to do that this last Halloween. There was a haunted house in one of these rich neighborhoods, and they would actually take the kids around all the houses in a like, what do you call it, hayride, and then they go to the house and we get to scare them in the house. I dressed up as the scarecrow. It looked like the scarecrow from Batman, and I would sit in a chair all like this, and the kids would come by and scared a good amount of kids. Right. It was pretty fun.
Nobody hit you in the face like on that famous
No, but I got
video?
kicked in the shin.
Did you?
I did get kicked in the shin, yeah. Some kid just reared up and kicked me right in the shin. I was like, ah!
The one where there's a few of them, but the first one I saw was one with the black guy. And they're on the porch, and the guy reaches up, and he just pops him right in the face. The guy even goes, oh. It's great.
No, nobody popped me in the face, but I did scare a bunch of kids. Cool. It got to the point where they were saying I was too scary, so I had to back off, and I was like dancing for the kids and stuff instead. And oh, we're your buddy now. I'm like, it's not as fun as scaring him.
That's not fun.
Yeah.
That's not fun.
But it was still fun. It was still a good time. It was, wasn't as cool as hanging out with Dr. Cuenca, but okay, whatever. That's what you do. You make sacrifices when you have family. Sorry, Dr. Cuenca. We didn't get to meet.
He didn't get to meet you. It's too bad.
No.
And he's dying too.
I know. He emailed me. He's like, man, where were you? I'm like, I'm sorry, Dr. Cuenca. I had to trick or treat.
Did he really email you?
No.
Okay.
He didn't know I exist. You kidding me?
I know.
But he knows you exist. He gave you
He
coffee.
gave me coffee.
Yep.
Yes, he did. Cool dude.
Yep. He is a cool dude.
So,
I'm getting into the face part of it.
yeah, I'm almost to the face. Well, I got probably another couple minutes before I'm into the face.
I'm in the face right now. I'm smoking the face. I don't really notice the change in the flavor. Maybe slightly milder because of the extra wrapper, but
Yeah.
other than that, it's definitely a spicy little thing. Not very complex. Maybe picking up a little bit on the spice on the last third.
But it's a flavor bomb. I mean, if you had more of these,
Yeah, I'd smoke them.
work out a trade with you.
Right.
To get some.
Yep, for sure. Now, on the shout-out side, I do have one that we didn't get last time. It was WolfTac86 from YouTube, who listened to one of our podcasts. And he had a recommendation for us to do video. So guess what?
We're doing
We
it.
have video. So yeah, watch some of the newer ones. We got video, dude.
Cool.
So that was it. Yeah.
Yeah. Need to reply to him.
I tried to, but it won't let me do it on my phone. Every time I try and put a reply on the phone, it says error.
Oh,
Can't do it. So
sucks.
I have to do it from home.
Phone stuff sucks.
It does.
Sometimes.
Yeah, it just don't work right like they're supposed to. They say they're smart, but really they're fucking fucked up.
Dumb. They're
They're
dumbasses.
stupid phones.
They don't know what they're talking about.
Exactly.
So, what you got planned next few days?
Doing some more voice work, so that'll be fun. And other than that, may have some me time this weekend. We'll see. If I do, then you're definitely invited over, and we'll smoke some cigars.
That'd be cool.
Maybe review some stuff from somewhere else.
Oh, so
you know what I mean?
Your house in Mexico. Huh?
Maybe.
Okay.
Or from an undisclosed location somewhere else.
Right.
But yeah, so that might be coming up. We'll see. So keep tuned, and we might
Ghost
have
Shark next week. Try to watch that. in
Ghost
advance,
Shark.
so
Yes. So if
you'll-
you guys are going to be checking out next week's podcast, check out Ghost Shark.
I mentioned. I forgot. I haven't even told you this since we were off the air last.
Okay.
I mentioned that customer that came in last time and or told us he was a fan and all
Yeah,
that
yeah,
kind of stuff. Well, I forgot. He said a couple of things that are music to our ears.
Okay.
He said he actually does smoke while he listens.
Cool.
That's not necessarily the cigar because he doesn't know in advance, but he actually does smoke while he listens.
Excellent.
And he said, your show reminds me of my porch on Friday night. Me and my buddy sit on our porch, smoke cigars, and shoot this shit, and talk about girls and all this kind of stuff. He goes, and your show reminds me of that. So there we go. That's really cool.
exactly what we're going for.
That's it.
Yep. I mean, we did this stuff anyway, so might as well
Might as
put it
well.
out there for you guys to enjoy.
Yeah.
It's like, boom, delivered. All over your ears.
Yes.
Damn face.
Here's a paper towel.
Wipe up. Baby naps.
Baby naps.
Yep.
So anyway, this was a good cigar. I'm almost to the face.
I am. I'm at the face and I'm enjoying it. And I'm gonna nub this fucker.
So we said we were going to finish on the air. So
We're
what you
gonna
got?
finish it. We're getting there.
What you got? What you got for next couple of minutes?
Let's see
Show
here.
prep. We should do that sometime.
What? We
Show
should-
prep. We need
Show
some-
prep. Nah, fuck show
No,
prep.
fuck show
That's
prep.
why it feels like you're on a porch
Yeah,
because it's just
exactly.
dudes talking about
Yeah,
stuff.
exactly. So anyway, do that. Watch Ghost Shark.
Watch Ghost Shark
Smoke
and
cigars while you're listening, unless you're at work.
Yep.
I know a lot of people listen at work.
what are we gonna be smoking when we're reviewing Ghost Shark? Do we know?
What are we going to be reviewing? I think we know.
Do we?
There was Toby.
Yeah. What are we smoking with it? That's not. We already did the R1J. We did that. Where the other
Oh, you want to do that? Corojo?
the Corojo. Oh yeah. Okay, we can do
You
that.
want to do the
Yeah.
so it's hard to find, so you won't be able to smoke this one with this one. It's called La Hoja. Hoja means the leaf in Spanish.
Okay.
And it's a nice Dominican Corojo with some spice.
And they only make 2 cigars, so
Yeah.
if you find them, you'll probably find both of them.
Right?
And this is like how much is the price point on this?
This one's like 8.
Okay.
The Maduro is 11.
And this won't be a
and-
blind one for us. We both smoked it before and we liked it a lot,
Yeah,
so we
but,
wanted to share it with you guys.
I smoked it rot, and it was okay. I was like, I don't know about $8 for this cigar. But I waited a few days, smoked it again, was like, I don't know if I'm just liking it because I'm supposed to like it or think I should like it. So I went into Matt and I said, "Did you ever smoke that?" And he said, "No." And he was about 10 minutes in. He sought me out. He went to find me wherever I was in the store and went, "This is good Corojo." So Pedro smoked one on Monday, and he had smoked one with me the day I got him. And he was like, Well, I texted him that Matt really loved it. He goes, "I can't believe Matt would like that cigar. It's not that tasty." I said, "Well, smoke one again." So he was at the store Monday, and he raved. He probably told me 8 times that this was one of the best cigars he's had lately.
So that just goes to show you, if you get a cigar and, say you just got it in the mail, or you just bought it and it was brand new to that B&M, if you smoke it raw and you're not really all that impressed, give it a couple of days. Maybe give it a week. Just give it some time to acclimate in the humidor, get it at the right temperature, the right humidity. It makes all the difference, man. It gives time for those
6
flavors
days after
to
he smoked.
meld.
Yeah, exactly.
Give time for the flavors. They got to meld like this.
Yep.
Like that.
Just like that.
Just like that.
Exactly.
And then you get a different flavor. And that's why, aging cigars sometimes helps too. Now, for me, for non-Cubans, aging a cigar, probably you're going to age out a lot of the spice and a lot of the pepper. So if you're not into that and you smoke a cigar and it's too peppery and it's too spicy, put it down for 6 months to a year, try it again. It's going to be a different smoke.
Right.
And it'll probably bring out some more flavors that you didn't notice the first time because it was masked by that pepper and spice.
Right.
So it does definitely make a difference aging your cigars a little bit.
Yep.
I don't think you need to age them 5-10 years for non-Cubans. Cubans, they would benefit maybe from that. But, eventually you're just going to age out all the flavors, so it's going to become a very mild smoke. If that's what you like, go for it. Age them. Age them all to hell.
Keep the flavor, give it a week or 2.
Yep,
maybe
or even a month. Yeah, just get them at that right. I say 65 on the humidity if you can do it. If you get your temperature, depending on where you're at, if you can get 70, 75 on the high side, other than that, you're good.
I think 70 temperature and about 67 to 68.
I like 65 because it's to me it just seems like it's the right.
It's a good. I'd rather do 65 than 72.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah. So if you're out there and you're getting the Boveda packs and you're getting the 72s or the 75s,
you don't need those.
Down a little bit. Get the 68. Maybe get the 65 if they have it.
Yeah.
What I find with the Boveda packs is it says 68 and you typically get 67, 66, then that's fine. You get the 65s, it jumps down to like 63. And a little too dry. It depends. Cubans do a little better at the lower end of things. You can go to like 63 with a Cuban and it's going to be perfect because they do need a little dry boxing typically because they pack those suckers wet. But for the non-Cubans, 65, 68 is about as high as you want to go. Preference. It depends on how you like your smokes, though. If you like them a little wetter, because I don't know why you would, but a lot of people
because people think they're fresh.
Yeah, but to me, I mean, when a cigar is wet, it's going to go out more often. The flavors, the draw is going to suck. The flavors to me are a little more muted. To me, the drier humidity, it just kind of brings out that flavor. And just feel your cigars. If they feel real spongy, then they're probably a little wet.
Yeah.
And always check your hygrometers. Those things, while they're electronic, if you have an electronic one, they go. Sometimes it looks like you're at 65, and all of a sudden it's showing 68, and you're like, I didn't do anything different.
Yeah.
They just get knocked off sometimes. So
they can.
Do the salt test. You can just put it in another container with a Boveda pack and let it sit for a couple of days and check it to make sure it's right.
Or get another hygrometer, put it in there, and see if they're reading the same.
Yep.
That's a good gauge. That's what we do in our humidor here. We've got 3 or 4 hygrometers set up around the humidor. So
yeah. Yeah, it's definitely a good idea to have a few.
Yeah.
I know I've got a large cooler and I've got 2 hygrometers in there, and if they're reading different, I'll put them aside, get them right, put them back in. I've got another hygrometer and another humidor that's and I switch them out. Like if one's running a little high, I'll put it with the other one and see if it's just the hygrometer or if it's the actual humidor that's running.
And a lot of those are self calibrating. So if you find that one that you trust is 65 and the one that you don't is 68, you can calibrate it down to 65.
Yep, you can knock it a couple notches there on the back. We definitely recommend the digital hygrometers over the manual, just because the manuals are
they're very finicky.
They are very finicky
because the coils and stuff in there get fucked up.
Yeah, my dad had a problem with. I gave him a manual one because I had a spare one, and for the longest time he's like, "It's reading right," and I'm like, "Your stuff is really wet." I came over to visit him and everything was just really spongy and wet, and I'm like, "It's not reading right." You tap on it, the freaking thing goes boop. I'm like, "Okay, yeah, come on, dude."
Funny.
So yeah, you got to get the digital.
Yeah.
Go spend the extra couple bucks, get a digital hygrometer.
And the Zycar one's guaranteed for life, so why not get that one? And they're $25. They're not bad.
Not bad, yeah.
Wow, we were able to eat up that last few minutes. I got to the face. It does taste a little different on the face.
It's funny because it's actually spicy, but it's like spicy and mild at the same time. If that makes any sense?
Yeah.
I'm not getting it's
This
spicy
last
on
third
the...
does have a lot more complexity.
Yeah, it
to
does. It's spicier on the lips still, but it's milder in flavor, which is interesting.
Yeah. Huh. Pretty intense ending.
Yeah, I like it.
I like
So,
it a lot.
as always, check us out at all those places we already said before. iTunes, Podomatic, Spreaker, iHeartRadio, Stitcher. God, we got too many. YouTube,
Twitter,
Facebook.
Yep.
Yep, all those places.
Podomatic,
Subscribe.
yeah.
Like.
Comment.
It always helps us get out there to more people.
And you will get a shout out.
You will. So, yeah, that's
And
going to end it.
Want to mention the drawing? Or are we waiting on the drawing?
What drawing?
For the 6 cigars.
Oh, no, we're going to wait on that.
Okay.
Because I don't know the details.
I don't know anything about a drawing, so don't.
No, there's
We
going to be
didn't
a
say
drawing
anything
soon.
about a
Keep listening.
Keep listening. We
Our
have
loyal
something
listeners,
coming
we
up.
will have another drawing. Wait, are we talking about the other thing which you have to redraw for?
No. The 6 cigars.
Oh, okay.
Esteban Carrera cigars.
Oh, okay. That's coming up soon. Coming soon, we'll be doing a drawing.
Yeah, to win 3 Chupacabra and 3 13-year Habano.
So keep listening, and we'll be doing a drawing for that soon. There'll be a little raffle copter thing where you can go and do a couple of things and get entries and stuff. So that's coming.
That'll be fun.
Yep. So as always, it's been great smoking with you.
See you later, Brandon.
See you later, Randy. We'll see you next time, guys.